Alright, hello and hello, my wisdomers. How are we today? And I hope everyone is doing very well in these times of need and, these hard times as well. You know that. But a lot has been happening in the world today. Off the coast of Australia, China was spying on Australia. Chinese fighter jet was spying on Australia. What's going on? Now, what is going on right now? Is this the basically start of World War III? Basically, the Chinese jet, there was an interception by an RAAF plane because China was spying on Australia. Could this be China's plans to start World War III and overtake the world? Certainly a very scary moment. But we shall wait and see, clearly the left-wing government has got to step down and crack down on this China issue because, for years and years, our politicians have always tried to make relationships with China. You know that. What do you think about the G7 summit and to build relationships with China? Because to do with trade, a lot of things now are made in China. Gone are the days when things were made in America, Australia, Japan. At one point, Japan was one of the best economic solutions and innovations to make things. But where do we go from here, guys? It is a hard time for the economy at the moment with inflation, stagflation going on. You know that. And all we just got to do is just say, forget it. We've got to live the best abundant lifestyle, and we've got to keep going, all right? We've got to keep manifesting success in our lives. You know that. Despite left-wing media like CNN getting involved and spreading fake news around, you got to understand that a lot of these left-wing news companies, media outlets, are spreading lies to the civilian population at the same time. But you've got to understand that, no matter how much, of all this war and crap that's going on in the world, like I said, you can always take 5 minutes out of your time to go and do your meditation, to go and do your visualization for the life that you want to live, to take your mind off of all this. Now, you look at Ukraine at the moment, where civilians are running for their lives. People are going hungry. Now, if you lived through World War II, you can understand what hunger is, and living really going hungry, and I can tell you, it's not fun. It sucks. You know that? It really sucks going hungry. We've got to think about, well, how do you make you a better person? You know, a lot of the left-wing media, like such as YouTube, they're all lefties, purposely shadow banning content creators who are conservatives or are supporting the right wing, which is discrimination. Now, like I said, I've faced discrimination from these tech giants, and it's really made life hard for myself as well. Because of Chinese news censorship, you know, saying things about China that they don't like, you get cut. Again, the Chinese news media, they got their own forms of social media, because I think Facebook and TikTok and that is banned over there, so they create their own version, which is the same thing. Technically, it's plagiarizing. I mean, how would you feel if you're a content creator and then China plagiarizes your work and they call it their own thing? I'd be pretty pissed off. You know, we've seen a lot of the, you know, news media outlets, left-wing news media outlets are very careful what they say about China. Although they want to build a relationship with China, which is fair enough. But hey, bring back the power of freedom of speech, not hate speech or bullying. I'm not talking freedom of speech like a right-wing conspiracy theorist like Alex Jones, who just goes off his head and rambles on for 3 hours and just talks shit. You know, although what he's talking, yeah, it's true, but it's the way he goes on about it. It's just, oh my God, you want to listen to that for 3 hours of your life? God, no. I'm talking the extremists are the ones that need to be cut. I mean, he was banned from Twitter like Donald Trump. Fair enough. I mean, if you don't like Donald Trump's Twitter, don't follow him, or Truth Social. I don't know what's going on with Truth Social if they're bringing it out in Australia. Hopefully they do, because I want to get on Truth Social. Again, for the freedom of speech. I'm doing it also to promote my work as well, because I'm fed up with the shadow banning from these left-wing companies, discriminating me, not giving me a chance to get myself heard. And it gets to a point in your life that the term inferior complex just comes in with myself. And look, a lot of world leaders have felt inferior complex, like Truman did with the atom bomb back in World War II. People talk down to you, and it really starts to piss you off inside. It does get to you after a while, and then you want to be remembered for something big. It's like Putin, Vladimir Putin, what he's done with the invasion of Ukraine. Now, you know, Putin being, 5 foot tall or something, not a big man. But yet this is where inferior complex comes in. Media talking down to Putin, basically pushing the Russian communist system, although they don't call themselves communist anymore. But since this war in Ukraine has happened, it's been very hard economically. Although Joe Biden's, definitely created more inflation and stagflation as well. With gas prices going up, basically, it's getting to the point where even in Australia too, inflation has happened and stagflation as well. And then you wonder, well, how is basically a middle class family going to afford to pay for gas, petrol, etc., food, utilities, and how you got to think, even the rich are sending their kids to private schools, but hey, private school fees are going up as well. Electricity and gas is getting to the point where it's just getting ridiculously expensive because the privatized companies and greedy bastards they are want to make virtually almost hard to be able to live and pay your living expenses. Hey, I've got a right to a roof, food, clothing, and shelter over my head. Not some greedy bastard at these fucking gas companies, whatever they are. Just want to make too much money. Some people are just greedy bastards, and they want to basically, make too much money. Now, I can see we got a guest here waiting, guys. Please be respectful on the Stephen Shields radio show. Want to have a great discussion with you on wisdom, and let's see how this goes. Hello.
TGTV, thank God it's this decade. Hey, Stephen, I am always respectful. I actually have never even said the F word in my entire life. But you can if you want to. My dad.
How are you, Jason?
Didn't. I'm an 8.9 out of 10, but I am an economics expert. So
awesome.
I'm here for this. If you want to have this conversation, I have solutions. I teach on the solution for the individual, and I come from a background of being, my dad and my mom grew up in Antigua in the Caribbean. It's a British colony that was very poor in terms of compared to those rich corporations, and I think the concentration of wealth is what is one of the biggest problems in the world, because there's enough land on the planet, food, everything, but people are hoarding it.
Yeah, it's corporations like McDonald's in general. They just put their prices up to the point, and you look at the quantity in Australia. I've noticed the food quantity's gotten smaller, and ripping people off, ripping farmers off as well. Now, again, this is where greed comes in with, corporations that want to take over. I'd rather be supporting small businesses, giving my money to a small business in this time of need. Because
Stephen, that is the solution. Entrepreneurship, individual entrepreneurship, every single person.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Keep small businesses going.
Well, that's what I teach on. I teach 7 Steps to Entrepreneurship Millions. I retired at 45, and this is my life purpose. I started my first corporation in 1999. It does everything for free. Free Shares Incorporated. It's after I worked at Microsoft Canada. Don't know if you heard of it, but it was one of the richest software companies in the world. It was, at that time, the richest software company in the world. Bill Gates came and talked to us. And instead of maximizing revenues, I decided to minimize expenses. And that's why I retired at 45 on May 6th.
Good on you. Here's a question about Microsoft, Jason. Do you think Bill Gates plagiarized Microsoft?
I have no idea. It doesn't matter. What do you mean by that exactly? Because at the time, he had access to computers. Do you know about the 10,000 hours outliers rule by Malcolm Gladwell? He's a genius who went to my school, University of Toronto.
I've
Looks like
heard of
Albert
it.
Einstein, except he's a black guy. Yeah. So what it is it says if you spend 10,000 hours of something, then you get to master it. So Tiger Woods spent 10,000 hours quickly. From young, like 3, he was playing golf. Serena and Venus Williams, look, they play tennis. Those 2 examples, I still haven't spent 10 hours playing tennis or golf. So what are the chances you think I'd be like Tiger Woods or like Serena and Venus Williams? Absolutely 0, right? So Bill Gates started working on computers when almost nobody had them because his mom was on the board at IBM and his dad was a lawyer, right? So if you started working on computers when you were like at his age at that time, then you would get 10,000 hours about when he did, and then you wouldn't have to plagiarize it. So I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Why would he have to plagiarize it if he still had that opportunity? He had an opportunity that nobody else in the world had because it's where his mom worked.
Well, he had an inheritance.
You understand why he wouldn't have to plagiarize it to have an advantage?
That is a good point. He had an inheritance of $1 million from, I think, a family will to help with Microsoft. It's just some people who don't like Bill Gates say that he plagiarized it from another person, Steve Jobs, quite possibly.
No, let me explain. Haters will always do that, right? So it doesn't matter, even if that was just, let's just say, for argument's sake, that was the case, right? He would have to have the skills to stay on top. Look, and no matter what, if you plagiarize something and you're an idiot, you're going to take that copy. Listen, I got 100% in grade 10 math. If somebody copied my paper in grade 11, they wouldn't get the 95% average that I got, and they wouldn't graduate top of high school, and you can see my valedictory dress. So what am I saying? I'm saying that you could copy my speech, right? And you could copy my rap, and I could give you my rap line. But then I'll say, let's do a battle. I'll flip it, I'll rip it, I'll show you I am gifted. Stephen, when I grab the microphone, I uplifted you and your crew to show you you are gifted too. That's how I do it. Power through, and now I'm through. I see China spying on Australia. This is how I do it every time, and then I'll fail you. I prove that I prevail to show that I'm the one. This is how I do it every time. I don't have a gun because I'm the one that leads the Increase the Peace campaign in Canada. Never ever have guns in these streets because that's not what I do. I'm not Ted Cruz, see? So it doesn't matter, Stephen. You don't stay on top with something unless you have skills. So obviously he knew how to run the business. It doesn't matter.
There was he was in and out of court in the 80s for some reason. I don't know what was going on.
In and out of court because the government was trying to stop the monopolistic practices, just like the government's trying to stop Facebook and break it up. So that's why that's one of the reasons he invested in when Steve Jobs needed Apple to be rescued. So first of all, Stephen, I know these things, they're not mysteries. Secondly, right? You obviously don't know if you said you don't know why. So I'm telling you, I know. And that those things are foolishness. He also didn't create the coronavirus. He also is not like trying to kill everybody with like mass, like he's not trying to do depopulation. These people are idiots that don't know anything about it, that say these things. Just because they see somebody rich, they think he must be trying to kill everybody. If he was trying to kill everybody, why would he take this long? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, look, I like Microsoft computers, Jason. They've improved a lot. Um, yeah, I think Bill Gates is a great
He's
entrepreneur.
just a person. That's the point. The point is that people see somebody that's huge, right? And they say, oh, that person has a lot of wealth, so therefore they must be the devil or they must be an angel. It's neither. He's a person, just like you. He looks like you too. Okay,
Mm.
nothing's wrong with how you look. He doesn't have a Superman chest vest on. But what my point is, it doesn't matter how people look. It doesn't matter whatever, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if he looked like me or he looked like you. The point is, does the software work? It's sometimes it does,
Mm.
sometimes it doesn't, right? Windows crashed one time when he was doing a presentation, and then some people were laughing, right? And then Steve Jobs was doing a presentation, and then the Mac crashed too. So the point is, there's no system that works perfectly, and if you have a system that works perfectly, you shouldn't have it because you don't work perfectly. So that must be on Mars or something, right? There's no perfect person, there's no perfect system. Capitalism
Mm.
is causing us a lot of problems, but I don't prefer communism. That's causing a lot of problems. Okay, socialism, it
Mm.
didn't work. So there's no system that is perfect. But what you should see is when there's some balance, right? Then there's some goodness that comes out of balance. So America
Mm.
has gotten too imbalanced in terms of the capitalism that's ruining how the government functions. In terms of, you see that now there's a concentration of wealth, and now they have enough resources in the states for people to have free healthcare. But because of the system, they have enough resources in the states to have some moderation of the gun policies. These people can still have a Second Amendment. The Second Amendment's
Mm.
purpose was so that the government Donald Trump doesn't stay in power for 70 years or 20 years like Putin. That's the purpose of the Second Amendment. It's not so an 18-year-old can go and get an AR-15 and then all the cops are scared to go into school.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
that
heard
wasn't the
about
purpose of
that.
it. Yeah, that wasn't the purpose of the Second Amendment. The purpose of the Second Amendment is so there could be, if a president refused to turn over power to the next president and stay in power, then a well-armed militia would take him out of power. That was the purpose of the Second Amendment, right? It's so that the continuity of government, so he doesn't end up staying in power like Putin. That is the
Mm.
purpose of the Second Amendment. It's so that he doesn't become a king. The president doesn't become king. They had to have a ruling and say, with Donald Trump stuff, that said presidents are not kings, right? So that's the purpose of it. It's not to be a perverted purpose. So the NRA has more power than the electorate. 85% of the American public wants some sensible gun control, but that 85% are not getting their way because of the NRA and because the politicians are in pockets of special interests. So how does this relate to the topic? That if each individual made themselves a corporation, incorporated their own corporation, then
Mm.
the big corporations wouldn't have the concentration of power. And that is the example. That is actually the why I'm retired and helping people. And that is a solution for you, because you
Well, that's
can't
what
make the
I.
government do the right thing, but you could have hired yourself and then you could be making enough money. Maybe you already did.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, and I learned it the hard way. I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor
Yeah,
Dad.
so did I.
Now, like I said about corporations, because it's like they're controlling prices all the time. They do it in Australia as well, and they're taking over small businesses, Jason.
Yeah, well, I don't know as much about Australia, but that is happening worldwide in the West in terms of, Exxon Mobil and they don't have to raise oil prices, right? Like they could get less profits. They're making more profits than ever. So why are they
Mm.
raising prices? Because they make more money that way. So what's the solution? Well, it would be a lot of different things, right? One of the solutions is what I did. All you have is control over yourself. Basic principle. You
Mm.
only have control over yourself. You can't overthrow the government. Well, you could try. Donald Trump tried. I think
Mm-hmm.
he people died, and he's not gonna
Mm.
win. Okay, I think he's going to jail. That's just my opinion. But the point is, you
Mm-hmm.
could try. But I don't think that's a good solution. I'm an Increase the Peace campaign leader. I don't want you trying to do something in Australia like they did on January 6th in the United States. So please don't do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bad option. Okay. And even if you overthrew the government in Australia, the corporations will take you out. Okay. So the point is that's not going to work. The only thing you have is control over yourself. So what did I do? I have control over myself. I sold my car when my tenants weren't paying. I sold my car, and then I was going to buy a Tesla because I sold my
Mm-hmm.
house. And I sold my house for $1 million. But then I said, why am I going to buy a Tesla? It's not better for the environment than me walking. So I
Mm-hmm.
walk. Right? But the thing is, Jesus walked everywhere he went. And he was a powerful person. But the point is, I understand. Maybe some people have 4 kids and they live all sorts of. They have to drive them to this and that, this soccer practice, that school thing, so. I understand. But if you work from home, you educate your kids at home, you learn how to do that. And yes, you might have to make some radical changes and sell your car. But all of those things that I just said, it's possible for you to do. over time. And that's my solution for people to do. See, because they drive their kids to school, they drive their kids to soccer. Their kids want to get a scholarship to this school, so they have to play thing, and then they drive to work, and then they can't work from home. So what's the solution? Forget all of that. Sell your car, sell your house, downsize, and work from home online and educate your kids online. So that's a lot of work, but I just gave you a solution. You wouldn't die.
Yeah, well, that's how the world's moved, Jason, since COVID. A lot of people working from home now. It's pretty much,
So you know what
run a
people will
business
say?
from
Yeah, you know
home.
what people say? They don't want to make those changes. So don't say you won't. Don't say there's no options. Just say you don't want to change. That's what most people say. Well, I don't want to change. I want to have my car. I want it to be the same price as before. I want the gas to be the same. I want the same job that I had before. I don't want to have to just. I don't want to have to sell my car. I don't want to have to sell my house. I don't want to have to downsize. I want it to be just like before. I want it to be just like before. So that is a fairy tale. If it was just like before, then it would be like Jesus' day. We wouldn't even have cars. It's a fairy tale. So people need to wake
Mm.
up. No, it's not going to be just like before. And it can't be. It can't be. By definition, this is how life works. It changes. The people that adapt, they make that's what the corporations did. They adapted and taken advantage of the system. So what is the wisdom? Then it's for other people to do what the corporations did. Hire themselves. Look, a CEO is not born on another planet. Okay, it's not a white person or a black person or an Asian person. They're a person
Mm.
that incorporated a corporation or they got the
Mm-hmm.
job there. So what is the solution? If the corporations are doing what's best for them and raising prices, then I can raise my prices as my own corporation. If some people don't know how, they should watch my talks. If they don't know how to incorporate a corporation, they should learn how. I teach them how for free. I've got hundreds of thousands of hours of videos. So that is the problem, the mindset, right? So the person that runs a corporation, they had a mind like me and they incorporated a corporation. All Bill Gates did was come with an idea, do some programming, right? Work on something and then incorporate a corporation, right? So you say, well, he was in the right place at the right time, right? His mom was this and that. Yeah, that's true. Your mom was a different person, but she still had you. Your dad was a different person, but he still had you. Maybe he wasn't Bill Gates' dad. Bill Gates' dad was Bill Gates, and he was a lawyer, Bill Gates Senior, right?
Mm.
So he was a lawyer. But there's a lot of people that have dads as lawyers, and they didn't do what Bill Gates did. So the point is this: every individual has the same value and the same amount of power. Now, of course, there are some people that are born without arms and legs, but Nick Majenovich was born without arms and legs, and he travels all over the world teaching and preaching the
Mm.
gospel. So the point is, people have to change their mindset and not say, well, I can't do what the corporations did. I can't be a corporate leader. That's their
Mm-hmm.
problem. If they say they can't be like Bill Gates, that's their mind problem. That's their mind issue. He's a human being, just like you. Yeah, just like
Exactly,
me.
and
I run three corporations. My daddy wasn't Bill Gates Jr. Senior. In case you can't see, I'm not Bill Gates Jr.
uh
My dad died
well,
6 years ago, poor, but I still managed to incorporate corporations, right? And retire at 45.
no, and that's what you want. You want that passive income. What I was trying to say is about greed. I've noticed too about there are people out there that are addicted to profit, and they just want to keep raising prices to the point where it's going to get very hard for a middle class family to survive. It's going on in Australia, Jason.
It's true, but you know what? There's people that are in poor places that are greedy too. So here's the thing: people
Mm.
are evil. I'm going to tell you
Mm-hmm.
straight the Jew Christian perspective. People are greedy and selfish. If you don't think so, you're like that too. That's why you don't like me saying it. So the point is this: my first corporation was it does everything for free, but my
Mm-hmm.
last one charges. It doesn't matter. The point is you can create your own corporation and make it not greedy. Obviously, my
Mm-hmm.
first one is Free Shares Incorporated. Everybody, it does everything for free since 1999. If somebody says I'm greedy, that's fine. They'll still say I'm greedy because I talk about myself a lot. So people are evil. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
is not perfect. Okay, you can not like the word evil, but I'll say it like this: nobody's perfect. Okay, that's what I mean. Nobody's perfect. And then if somebody says that they're perfect, they're even worse. Okay, I think Jesus was the only perfect person. But even if you're not a believer in Jesus, the point is nobody on the planet now is perfect. If so, tell me who.
No one.
Crickets. So, right. So the problem is that because of that, people are greedy. They're looking out for themselves. But the reason why you would have a problem with it is because you're looking out for yourself too. So this is the point. I'm giving this to everybody down there listening. You already look out for yourself, or you wouldn't be listening. You're probably listening, how can I apply this for myself? Oh, is this World War III? Is this going to be bad for me? Because you're selfish. Well, you're not listening to find out to save me. You're not listening to go to the Mars so that you can help the Martians. Absolutely not. You're all selfish. This is a different kind of altar call, right? So what's the solution? Right? It's to figure out, okay, fine. The corporations are greedy and selfish. They're raising prices. So how can I raise my prices? Right? So that's why you should be studying, doing something that people need. And I'm not saying that you're going to be able to open up an oil company and find it and drill, but I just told you what you could do. So if you are addicted, they are greedy and they are corrupt. Okay? They don't have to raise the prices. But the solution is for you to do what you can do peacefully, legally, right? And it's not just cling to, like, look, it's just not effective. If I was head of ExxonMobil, how far do you think you're going to get telling me to reduce my prices? You're going to waste your time, aren't
Yeah,
you? I'm not
interesting.
going to. I control my prices. You control your prices. So that's why you could raise your prices, and then you become just like them. Now maybe you can't raise your price because you have other competitors. So then you have to come up with a different differentiating product, and then go into a new area. Maybe do something else, right? But then you say, but I don't want to do anything else. That's the problem. Why do you get what you want? You know, honey, there's almost 8 billion people on the planet that don't get what they want. This is a privilege. If you live in Australia, you're privileged already. Do you know there's people in Botswana that can't eat? Do you know there's people in North
Yeah.
Korea that are getting starved? This is privilege.
Well, there is poverty in Australia too.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. The point is that anybody that's listening to this comes and has a podcast is part of the most privileged people in the world. There's people that have never even been able
Exactly.
to do this. So everything is as a matter of perspective. Just because there's a poor person beside you in Australia that is poor, it doesn't mean that you're not in a richer country than North Korea.
Yeah, well, North Korea is a communist country.
Yes, but that doesn't matter. The point is you're one of the more privileged people on the planet. That's the point.
Exactly.
And you're actually
I just,
complaining from that perspective that you're not as privileged as you used to be. Oh, boo hoo. It is actually a situation of privilege. Me too. I live in Canada, right? I've never lived in a place like North Korea. So the point is, this is a privileged conversation. You're complaining about something that you actually are one of the more privileged people on the planet complaining about stuff now. Do you know there's people that have that there? You know, there's countries where the life expectancy is 20 something. Did you know that there used to be back in the day, the life expectancy used to be what it used to be in Australia? You want to see what it used to be for the Aborigines? So the point is this. Every time somebody says, oh, I wish it was like it was before, when? What, when America was great again? When they killed the natives? When? When Australia was great? When they killed the Aborigines? When? It's a privileged
the thing,
conversation, the whole thing.
it, I just like to express my opinions,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
all.
that's fine. I'm not upset at you. I'm just saying to shift people's perspective, then they won't feel
Yeah,
sorry for themselves. Right? Like, I know I could die at any time.
exactly.
I believe I'm going to heaven because I accept Jesus Christ. But if you don't believe that and you're trying to make heaven here, that's great. Have fun with that. It's not heaven. Okay? It never was heaven here. It never was. Okay? It wasn't. It wasn't. When people say, "Oh, it's worse than it ever was before," do you remember Hitler, or did you guys not study history? It's
Yeah,
confusing to me.
Hitler was bad. So was Stalin.
Yes, so it's
That
confusing to
was a
me.
bad time.
It's actually a better day today than
Mm.
it was like 500 years ago. It's better day to day than it was 1,000 years ago in the time of the William King whatever, right? When they had the Vandals running across Europe. It's a better day today than it was like 1,500 years ago when the Roman Empire was cruising across, right? After, or when the Roman Empire fell 2,000 years ago. So the point is, if people actually understand history, I'm actually working on a game for this. I'm working on a game like Jesus Walks, okay, a video
Hmm.
game. Okay, that's what I'm doing in my retirement, right? I wanted to do it since it was Microsoft in 2004, but now I can do
Hmm.
it, right? And it's much cheaper too, right? To do now, you could do a mobile version, and it's going to be Jesus Walks, and I'm going to teach people they can be Jesus and go through history. I just got Assassin's Creed because it's something like Assassin's Creed, right? Because they asked which game do you travel through different. They said Assassin's Creed is like that, right? I didn't even know. Every video game, it's like everybody wants to be an assassin. Every kid. Why did people think these kids are erupting? That's the kind of video games they are. I wanted to create a video game named Jesus Walks. They gave me Assassin's Creed as my research. It's ridiculous, right? But here's the point. Because there's problem with the gun proliferation too. I'm not just saying video games cause people to go insane and kill people, right? They can't do that without guns. But point is this, right? Before I get into two different things, because I don't know if you want to watch the news in the States. But the point is this: I'm not saying you're wrong for complaining, but it's a privileged complaint. There's a book called "The Complaint Is a Gift," so that's great. You understand the problem. Are you better off than the people that were taken over in Australia when the people came? Than the prisoners that were taken there? The colony started with inmates, right? Are you better off than you were one of the inmates? Are you better off than if you were one of the people that were enslaved in the United States? Are you better off than if you were in North Korea? Are you better off than the people that are traded in sex slavery now? There's sex slave trades right now. There's people that are abducted right now in other parts of the world. So the point is this: anytime we complain and we point a finger at the corporations, there's three fingers pointing back at us because we are selfish to complain. And that's fine. Then you recognize you're not perfect. Join the club.
Yeah, look, that's some great points that you brought up, Jason. Yes, a lot of this awful stuff is going on right now. But from a biblical perspective, like yourself, do you believe in the second coming of Jesus will happen?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. However,
When do you think right now is the signs of the end
so
times?
I have a very developed belief on this. Okay, so I believe that what it says that at that time, at the time when Jesus was speaking, they thought he was coming back in their lifetime. Okay, now it's not their lifetime unless you count time different. It was like 2,000 years ago, right? So the point is this: it's always the end for somebody. So if somebody blows up, if the World War III is something, I don't think this is going to happen, right? But if there's something happens and the bombs blow up right now, and there's enough nuclear weapons for to blow up the whole planet, right? So if that happens, and I rebuke that, I don't think it's happening right now. It's not because I said so, right? I just don't think that's God's plan for that to happen right now. But if we're going to happen right now, I believe I'm going to heaven, right? So the thing is, the world is ending for somebody right now. But if in the same way, if somebody pulls a school shooting on me right now, right, and my school is this online school that I do, right? If somebody takes me out right now, then the world ended for me. If somebody does that to you, then the world ended for you. So why does it matter? That's the point. It's a complex thing. But the point is this: I was baptized in a church where they predicted wrong that in 1900 and something, right? It was called the Great Disappointment. They predicted that Jesus was coming back, right? And they got it. It obviously didn't happen. And then the guy reset the date for a week later, and it didn't happen. So the point is this: those people, what were they to do? You should still have your plans. And then it says in the Bible, and then one will be taken and one will be left. Somebody just got taken. Somebody just died. If they accepted Jesus, I believe they're going to heaven. If they rejected him, I don't believe they are. But it doesn't matter. The point is that you do agree that somebody just died somewhere in the world, right? You do agree that we could die anytime, right? So the point is this: it's always the end. That's why it says
Yeah.
don't partake. So yes, there will be one day where there's a real end. But the point is this: it doesn't matter. You're always supposed to be believing. Time is coming. You're always supposed to, right? You also always want people to be saved. So we always share the gospel, right? Because we don't know when it's going to happen. You're not supposed to say, "Oh, it's not going to happen," right? Because it'll be like people giving in marriage and having sex out of marriage and doing all sorts of things. No, we're not supposed to live like that. And I do believe what I'm saying because I'm 45 and I haven't done a baby making thing yet because I'm not married yet. So I actually act on what I believe.
Well, you heard of Sodom and Gomorrah, have you?
Of course.
Now, do you think right now we're living in times of Sodom and Gomorrah with corruption and greed and infidelity?
We are, and we were before as well. It was pretty bad before too. Look, if you read the Revelation, if you actually, and it's going to be in my video game, if you read Revelation when you were a Jewish person in 1940, do you think it would seem like it wasn't the end?
No.
It would seem like it was the end, brother. Okay?
Wow.
And it was the end for some people. Can you imagine that? It was. I think it was worse than that. If I was in the middle and I see people piling up in gas chambers, and I see
Mm-hmm.
Hitler as an antichrist, you better believe I would think it was the end. And when I was reading Revelation, you better believe I would think it was the end.
Yeah. Sad times.
So the point is this: your individual life, it's always potentially the end, because you could lose your life anytime. People don't believe
Mm.
that, right? The people that believe they're going to live forever, go ahead with that, right? It's funny. Les Brown does this funny joke. He says, "Look, life is a hard thing. Nobody is. It's a tough game. Nobody gets out of it alive." But people still think they do. So why does
Mm.
it matter, Stephen, whether it's the end now or whether it's actually like World War II and the people were wrong and some people still died, right? Are any of those people in World War II that thought it was the end that were maybe 50, maybe my age 45, are any of them still alive? Absolutely. Some people are, but the 45-year-old in World War II at 1940 is absolutely not alive.
Mm.
So why does it matter? If we live to be, if there's another 100 years of this, and this is a false alarm, right? Then why does it matter? The point is, today is the day of salvation, and every Christian should be saying, accept Jesus Christ as personal Lord and Savior. Every other person, they are not going to do that. If they don't accept, then at some point they'll die. And then they'll find
Mm.
out if I was right. If I'm right, then they made a bad decision. If they're right, why does it matter? I'm not killing anybody. I'm headed to Increase the Beast campaign. I never even hit anybody. And I'm glad to believe people have told funny or bad jokes to me. I don't have a wife to be offended, but you better believe people have dissed my people. Okay? If you haven't, you should watch the news. And I still didn't hit anybody. So what's the point? The point is this: why does it matter to predict the date? Because it actually says in the Bible, no one knows. In one translation, it says not even the Son, but only the Father. So the point is this: you do what you're created to do. And then what you create will do what you create it to do. I created Penn's Power Club to help people
Mm-hmm.
rise, to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and live their God-given dreams. I have thousands of hours of teaching. I have a whole book course, right? I have thousands of hours of teaching on Instagram. I am gifted like you. On TikTok, I'm gifted like
Mm-hmm.
you. On Facebook by Meta, I'm gifted like you, right? And in person, I tell the young people at the basketball court, because now I work first and I play after. I tell them, if you
Mm-hmm.
play first, you still have to work after, but you still fail. I was a teacher before too at my church's
Mm-hmm.
private Christian school, and I said, look, if you play first basketball and then you show up to the math test, you're going to say, oh, well, Mr. Kitte, did you teach us this? Is like, yes, you were playing basketball when you're supposed to do your homework. And then
Mm-hmm.
and then you get the test back and you see you fail. And I say, everybody that failed, you stay after school and you have to redo it. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't give you a new mark, you still fail. It's just like the LSAT. I had dated somebody, she had to take the LSAT twice, the law school admissions test. I studied, I prepped, I took a prep course, I did it once and I aced it. She had to do it a second
Mm-hmm.
time, and then they averaged it out. So the point is, this is my instruction and what I tell the young people at the basketball court: you work first and then play after. If you play first, you still have to work after, but you still fail. I work first and now I play basketball, and I retired at 45. I'm done.
All right, that was an awesome chat with Jason on the Stephen Shields radio show. It's always great to have different views, perspectives going on. I am all the way in Sydney, Australia, but yeah, all we can do is create solutions to these problems, like make more money, passive income as well. But yeah, despite all the poverty going on in the world, uh, you know, guys, I just share my opinions from what I listen to on the news or what I read, because I get passionate about talking about this stuff. But, you know, all you can do is live your life with gratitude and just be thankful for what you have. You know, the way I see it is, if I've got a roof over my head and I've got electricity, water, gas, clothes to wear, I'm happy. And as long as I'm healthy, I'm exercising, I'm happy. But yeah, just keep going, keep manifesting success as well. Uh, you know, don't let people tell you that you can't go and achieve your dreams. You know, you look at the great sports people, again, like Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, who I highly admire, and they made sport entertaining to watch. That's why people went, because they kept going. 10,000 hours of practice is what what will get you there for success. Now, you think, in the NBA, for instance, there was a couple of basketball players who were, 5'8" or 5'10", and, get told, oh, you'll never make it, but yet they can still dunk, which is pretty incredible. I'm 6 foot. I can't even slam dunk. And I've always wondered why society wants to put people down because they don't have a certain build. Get told you'll never make it, but it's, if you really want it bad, I honestly think you'll find ways to get there. Like I said before, even if World War III was to break out, you could still take 5 minutes of your time to visualize and meditate. A lot of this is news media, by the way, stirring up trouble, making mental health problems for people, misinformation as well. And but I guess if you have a true purpose and a true passion and a true calling for yourself, you will climb the ladder for success. There's no way you can be remembered for doing good things in life as well. I know sometimes I do swear. I do get a bit, I don't know, what would you say? I get a bit edgy with what's going on. I probably come across as I'm complaining, but I'm really not. I just like to talk about news and what I've been reading, because I like to keep up to date with American news, Fox News, New York Post as well. But this was an awesome show today on wisdom. I love this app. I love getting to talk to people across the other side of the world, guys. And please like, share, and subscribe to the Stephen Shields radio show, and turn on your notifications wherever you get a podcast. New podcasts are available every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. I'm also available on Medium as well, writing some music articles, sharing my experience in the music industry, and offering alternative solutions to problems and how we can overcome them. But the more important thing to do is look after your mental health as well, because we have a huge mental health crisis in this Western world. But mental health is very important in these times. Looking after your mind, because it's the mind that will get you to where you want. There's too many negative people out there. I've put up with a lot of negative, and I've just learned to filter it out. Again, this is where affirmations come in, positive affirmations, because even if you're not a meditator, affirmations, just listening, even during the night, subliminal affirmations are able to, reprogram your subconscious mind. And that's what you want. You want to have a healthy mind to go and achieve dreams and goals, and go and chase what you want to do. If you want to become a successful businessman, go for it. It took me years to realize that entrepreneurship was the way to go. Funny enough, I never had an interest to be an entrepreneur or a content creator. I always wanted to be an employee, because again, that's what the school system's teaching us: work the 9-to-5 job. And but I don't know, maybe the universe, God, whoever, said, no, you're not suited to be an employee. You need to be an entrepreneur, get passive income. And yeah, I think I was 26 by the time I just said, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I'll do it, and I'll give it a go. So I decided to self-publish my music as an independent artist. It took a lot of bravery. Again, there was a lot of negativity from people saying, nah, don't do it. It ain't worth it. You'll never get there. You can't compete. Sure, I may not have the financial backing like a huge record company, but what I do have is talent, and talent is something that you will never buy. You can't buy talent. You just cannot buy talent. And we've seen how the music industry has fallen, But going back to censorship with China now, I firmly believe if your work is doing your purpose, forget Chinese news censorship, because they just want to bully people, and I just get fed up with the bullies. Beat them with success. Create your own success in life is what you can do to be the best you that you can be, and you just keep going. Just keep going. Don't let these technology companies shadow ban you, put you down. You just keep going as well. All right. I wish everyone a great afternoon. To all my US audience, keep manifesting success, keep going, keep being the best you that you can be. Bye for now.